We're going to be talking about building an incredible skate park out in Cherokee, Iowa. We broke ground around April 19th of 2024. We were hired by the city of Cherokee, Iowa. It was a council meeting that got together, reviewed a couple of the bids. We were one of the bidders. Next thing you know, we were awarded the job. Apparently, the town had been raising funds for about 5 years. The skate park was on their radar for a long time. It is a small community of about 5,000 residents. For the youth, there aren't a ton of activities or choices to participate in. They've wanted a skate park for a very long time. They decided in order to get it going, they had to fundraise a good amount before the government could step in and help with grants. The project took about 5 months to build off and on. We weren't there the entire time. We broke ground at the end of April, and then we finished in early to mid-September. Actually, one of the biggest hurdles was the weather. When I first went out there at the beginning of 2024, there was snow on the ground, and they had mentioned they had been in a several-year drought. Not a lot of rain and very, very dry soil. The irony is that once we broke ground in April, it started raining like every other day. The weather was very similar to Hawaii, just unpredictable. It could be very sunny while we're working, and then a couple hours later, you're just drenched in water. I brought out a crew from here in California. All of us were based out here, and we would fly out to Iowa. Sal was my lead foreman. He has a lot of experience of building skate parks all over the world. He's built a couple hundred in total. Sal started building concrete skate parks in the late 90s and was one of the very first to master the craft of building concrete skate parks. Yeah, fun fact, he built Tony Hawk's backyard skate park twice. My favorite memory, we made a lot of lifelong friends out there. Going to the local restaurants and seeing everybody, the same people every night, was really unique. But playing in the local band might be the most memorable. That was a blast. But awesome people, so fun. But playing in the local band might be the most memorable. The worst memory would be dealing with the flood, the aftermath. Cherokee experienced a very severe flood at the end of June of 2024, and it decimated a good chunk of the town. The nearby cities were destroyed. It was something that they hadn't seen in their history. As we were pulling into the airport out in Nebraska to fly home to LA, we got a phone call from one of the city council members, and he said, "Tyler, a flood is imminent. Water's coming our way. We need to go into your storage shed and remove any of your power tools or things of value." We gave them access, and they took out tools and heavy equipment. What ended up happening was 8 feet of water came through this area of town and decimated our skate park. A lot of the sections that we had built were still with styrofoam and rebar, and they just lifted up and floated down the river. A week after the flood had passed, a lot of the water had dried up, and lo and behold, a few locals found some sections of our ramps, and they called in and said, "Hey, I found this ramp and I found this section. What do you want me to do with it?" So I said, "Hey, bring it back to the skate park area." So sure enough, over a matter of 2 to 3 weeks, the community gathered all these pieces. They used their tractors, their pickup trucks, their trailers, and they hauled all of our forms and sections, all of our materials over to one designated area. My crew went out there in July, and we grabbed all the pieces, put them back together pretty quickly, and then shot the concrete and moved forward. Thank you to the city of Cherokee for the help. It was a collaborative effort. We really couldn't have done it without the people of Cherokee. We were really appreciative to the people of Cherokee. Step 1, you need blueprints. The city had hired a third-party architect and engineer to create those, so that when we showed up at the job site, the specs and DIMs and blueprints were all ready to go and hit the ground running. Step 2, organizing the equipment and crew and the logistics, where you're gonna stay, where you're gonna rent some of the equipment, what equipment you're gonna ship out. Then number 3 is breaking ground and grading. Our first step out there was removing the layer of grass and getting down to the dirt. Step 4, bringing in a surveyor to plot out exactly your points on the map of where you're gonna be building. Step 5 would be creating the forms So once we have everything graded, we're gonna lay out where the ramps and rails are gonna go. And step 6 would be rebar. Rebar all your forms. Eventually you'll have to rebar the flat sections as well. Step 7 is shoot that concrete. We use shotcrete for all the above ground elements and the bowl. And then for all the flat work, you just pour that straight out of the truck. Step 8 is you have to skate, test it, and have a grand opening. And that's exactly what we did. We held the grand opening at the very end of September 2024. We broke ground the end of April 2024, and we completed the ramp with a grand opening the end of September 2024. Grand total of 5 months, including a flood. And that's how you build a skate park. I'd say overall, it was a really incredible experience for us at OC Ramps to work with the city of Cherokee. We are passionate about what we do. We love building skate parks, but even more, we love seeing the happiness and the positivity that it brings to a community. And I remember on the day of the grand opening, Sal did look over to me and he said, man, everything that we struggled with, the flood, or any other obstacles along the way, this is worth it right here. I'll never forget that moment, and I agree 100%. Watching all the kids in the neighborhood bring their skateboards or roller skates and having a good time, that is what makes it worth it for us. So we're eternally grateful to the city of Cherokee. Thank you guys. So overall, I think we did a great job. One thing that was interesting that a few people pointed out is they didn't realize that their neighbors or friends from school skated. And so when everybody was at the park and they're seeing each other, everyone was slightly surprised. And we've been getting calls and text messages. We still stay in touch with the city and with the locals. And they say that every single day there's 20 to 30 kids there till sunset. And that to me is like, okay, that makes it worth it. These kids, it wasn't just a fun grand opening. This stuck. They love it. And you can't get these kids off the skate ramp.